Here's Brody Brazil.
I've decided that I'm just going to sit here and keep saying it over and over until it feels normal and natural coming out of my mouth. Here we go. Joe Thornton is a Florida Panther. It doesn't feel right. Let me try it up here on this camera. Joe Thornton is a Florida Panther. No, I can't do it yet. I'm not ready. I'm not there yet. Let me try one more thing here. Hang on. Joe Thornton is a Florida Panther. Okay, all right. Obviously, you can see I'm having some fun with this, but when this news came out, I mean, to me, it just hit different. And I'm sure it was the same for you too. Kind of random. Joe Thornton, future Hall of Famer, signing with the Florida Panthers? And no disrespect to that club. They're on the up and up. But it's just something that if I had to explain to myself 5 or 10 years ago, I would have a hard time doing that. It wouldn't sink in then. And even honestly, right now, it doesn't sink in at first. But when you think about everything that's going on, the bigger picture, the hockey season that might be, I think this is actually a really good move for both parties involved. And I'll get to explaining that in just a second. But first, since you're here right now, if you like this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm really trying to grow out this platform as a place for you and I to have these deeper level and layer discussions. And also at the very end of this video, if you actually like it, give it a thumbs up. That'll help recommend it to other viewers here on YouTube. But back to Jumbo. Again, it feels weird. And maybe it's because he didn't sign with like the other Florida team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have just won 2 cups in a row. Ultimately, right, that's what he's chasing. That's what this all is all about. I don't want to sit here and completely speak for Joe, so I'm actually going to play you what he said today about this entire situation.
I talked to Bill. I talked to Lou. I talked to Joel Quenneville. And they were just so excited about their team, what they're building down there. And I just thought I'd be a great fit with this group. And my family was behind me. You know, I have 2 young kids that are on board and meeting the players, and they're excited. But yeah, those like I said before, I think Bill, Lou, Joel, they're close. They really are. It doesn't matter what happened, you know, in years past. This is a new team. They had a great season last year. But for me, just, you know, put the work in every day. And hopefully at the end of the year, you'll see some rewards.
Yeah, and again, that's entirely what it's all about for Joe Thornton, right? He's just trying to win the Stanley Cup, doesn't care how, when, where, his involvement, like he just wants to be part of the team that can help get that done. And just seeing his face there, the excitement on a 42-year-old's face to know that he'll get a 24th NHL season, it's tangible. You can totally understand it. You can see it. It's written all over him right there. I will now defer to this great article at ESPN.com by Greg Wyshynski, which summarizes everything. Jumbo to play in his 24th season as a 42-year-old. He's going to earn $750,000 on the deal. No bonuses, no incentives. And let me just speak to this right now. In terms of value, what he'll bring to this club. And I don't mean just last year in 44 games. The stats are on here somewhere. 5 goals, 15 assists. I'm talking about leadership, mentorship, a player who at his age is definitely and has definitely never mailed it in. He is more motivated now, as motivated now as he's ever been. So you know you're getting a future Hall of Famer with current ambitions that are second to none. And I'll talk about later on why you're thinking, well, for the Sharks, why didn't you want in on this? Why didn't you want to bring him back? I'll talk about that in just a second. But Jumbo said about the Panthers, quote, "I see their team on paper. I watched them last year. I love their team, and that's it. I love what they're building, and I'm excited to be part of it. But everything is ultimately about winning the Stanley Cup, and the Panthers are right there, in my opinion." Florida has been in the postseason each of the last 2 years. Early exits, but again, they are in that echelon of contenders for the Cup. I truly feel like that. This is not like he signed with a team that doesn't have a chance, but it's also not like he signed with those Tampa Bay Lightning, or I even hate to say it, it's not like he signed with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, you would understand that a little bit more. That's a team that's really been knocking on the door each of the last several seasons, and yeah, to a greater extent than the Florida Panthers have. back to the piece here. We know what Jumbo did last year, and I'll talk about Toronto in just a second, but one of the most productive offensive centers in NHL history, 14th in career points at 1529. He's 5 points away from being 12th overall, 7th in career assists with 1,104 in 1,680 games. For so many years, he was a point-per-game player, and clearly in the last handful of seasons, he's tailed away from that. But again, you know what you're getting from Jumbo, and you also understand that he'll be in a certain role. I believe down here it goes on to say, that he averaged 13 minutes and 43 seconds time on ice per game last year. That's by far the lowest of his career, but he's able to give you versatility. He can be on your top line with Marner and Matthews. He can be mentors to them. He can be in the third or fourth line. He can obviously be on the power play or not, but Joe Thornton is going to give you his very best. And I think this is going to work out for the Florida Panthers. I don't think they're going to regret this one bit. Why would they? And I think for Joe Thornton to be on a competitive team that's hungry with a chance that wants to take the next step and possibly all the steps. He says, quote, "The energy these guys bring every day, they want to work every day, they want to get better every day. I'm just really looking forward to joining them on the journey." Goes on to talk here about Joe's, illustrious career, had 15 years in San Jose. Last year, 44 games, 5 goals, 15 apples. And again, played in a number of different situations for the Leafs. Let me also say about Toronto right now that going back there for Joe last year made a lot of sense to me. His family and friends are all from there. He's an Ontario boy growing up. And he wanted to go play for an original six team. Kind of like how he started his career with the Bruins. It all made a lot of sense. But I kind of wonder, going from Toronto to Florida is like the exact inverse in terms of the hockey market, maybe the experience as a player. It's all eyes on you 24/7 when you're a Leaf. It's always the way it's been from fans and the media. It's always the way it probably will be. I would imagine it's absolutely nothing like that, being a Florida Panther. And maybe that's one of the exact reasons why Jumbo is enticed to have a chance to go win a cup on a team that's not going to get criticized every single second. It's not that he couldn't handle that. It's not that he couldn't perform in that situation. It's just that at his age, 42, do you really want to be dealing with that every time you turn a corner? Probably not. Panthers GM Bill Zito said this, quote, "His drive to succeed is unmistakable, and we're thrilled that he chose to sign with our club." It also talks here about how Joe has been in Switzerland the last couple weeks and months, playing with HC Davos. That's the same club that he's been with each of the unfortunate respective lockouts. Switzerland has very important connections to the Thornton family. But I now understand, in all of the prior seasons that ended and Joe would be asked, "Hey, are you going to play again next year? Do you already know?" And he'll never, certainly commit to it in the moment. It's because now I truly see what he does. He works out all summer. He does his normal routine and regimen. And then at or after the point of free agency being opened up in the NHL is when he decides, okay, my body feels right. I can do this. I mean, clearly, I think he wants to play a handful more seasons if he actually can and if the opportunity's there. But the first step of any of that has to be, am I right? Can I do this? Can I get through this? How I want to get through this? Can I be a contributor to a team? And certainly he's been doing that. He realizes it. The Florida Panthers realize it. And I wish him all the best. And now I finally want to circle back to the thought about the San Jose Sharks. Well, if he's good enough for the Panthers, why wouldn't San Jose have reached out to try and bring him back? I know that thought is out there. And it actually, I believe, has nothing or little to do with Jumbo. It has almost everything to do with the Sharks. Where they're at, the chapter they've turned, what they're trying to build, ice time that they've carved out for other and younger players and promised to other people. And I don't know that it would have been entirely productive for this team to move on, take the next steps with Joe coming back. Granted, if this were a Sharks team that were in a similar scenario as 2012, 13, 14, 15, anywhere in there, where basically on opening night when you drop the puck, they're automatically in the playoffs. If it were one of those seasons and there was a roster spot open and it made sense at this point, of course, it'd make a lot of sense for Jumbo to come back and give him another crack at winning the Stanley Cup, which he does not have. But that's not the Sharks right now, by far. So again, when the conversation is out there, like, was that a possibility? Was that an option? I'm sure Jumbo could see it that way, and I know the Sharks probably looked at it that way too. You know, in a storybook, it would be great, but that's not where the Sharks are at right now in terms of bringing Jumbo back. So again, I could say this a million times. Joe Thornton is a Florida Panther, but it's just not going to feel right and normal. I don't know ever. Maybe even until March of 2022, mid-March of 22. By the way, is when the Panthers are set to visit SAP Center. I certainly hope Joe Thornton is there and on the ice, and I can't wait to see the reception. I hope he gets in front of a lot of fans, if you catch my drift, with the current world situation. I hope he's able to get the deserving moment, the deserving many moments that should be coming his way. But yeah, March of 22 is when the Panthers come to SAP Center, and Joe Thornton, for the first time in a lot of years, will be an opponent.